Hi, it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and today we're going to be making this really cool modern dress cake. I'm doing a nice thick crumb coat of Italian meringue buttercream flavored with Earl Grey. That cake has been chilling in the fridge for approximately 30 minutes. I find with Italian meringue buttercream, it needs somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes to really set up before we apply any fondant on top. If you're using American buttercream and your fridge is fairly cold, I find it goes a little bit faster than that. So what you want to do here is you want to take your black fondant, and I always suggest that you purchase your black fondant. Don't try to dye your own black fondant. It just turns into a big mess, and I just find it cheaper in the end to buy it pre-made. To prevent it from sticking, I'm just using a little bit of cornstarch, and don't worry that cornstarch is all over the cake. We are going to get rid of that. If you're using American buttercream underneath and the buttercream has crusted over, you will need a little bit of shortening. My buttercream has not crusted over, which means that when I press the fondant into it, it does stick automatically. Now, I noticed that I really cut a lot of this portion out on most of my tutorials, so I decided to leave a lot of this in so you can really see how I'm flattening out that fondant and then I'm flattening it to the side. It's kind of like you are smoothing a giant skirt all the way around this cake. I've used X-Acto knives for this, but I really like using the plastic because I find it's not such a sharp edge so it doesn't dig into the board. Using my finger and fondant smoother, I'm going to create a little edge here so that it's nice and sharp. I'm cleaning up my board here just a little bit, but I will show you how I fully clean it up later. I'm taking this stencil. This actual stencil is from the dollar store, but I have other stencils that I use as well, and I will link those down in the description box below. I didn't want this stencil to look very perfect. If I did want a perfect stencil, I think I would go with royal icing instead. So I'm just kind of painting on things haphazardly, and I'm splattering on this gold edible paint as well. Then taking a dry brush, I'm just kind of pressing it in so that it kind of makes everything look like it's meshing into one another. Now I'm going to steam my cake. So remember earlier when I talked about not to worry about that extra cornstarch on top, this is how you get rid of it. And don't worry, your cake is not going to end up shiny. After steaming the board and cleaning up the board with just a little bit of paper towel, I am applying these edible pearls. This particular cutter is actually to create roses, but I'm going to be using it to create a more open flower. Now, you could keep the petals all together like this and use your balling tool to make sure it's nice and thin, but I decide later on actually to break up those petals. I'm putting it in this bowl-shaped pan though to make sure that everything is nice and curved up. Anytime you want your flower, or any piece for that matter, to dry in a particular way, mold it however you see fit and use whatever is available. Now I'm going to be working on the dress portion, and I'm actually starting with white fondant here because we are going to airbrush this later. And I'm just taking a little petal shape, and then again, just like I did with the flower, I'm using a balling tool to make it nice and thin. The key here is to make it look nice and airy, like it's moving in the wind. I've looked at several of these types of cakes, and the key is to make the body proportional to the dress size. So I'm just going to be making her back here, and you want to make kind of a tapered shape, and then that's kind of her scapula right there, and we're going to create her spine right down the center. You don't need to be too picky with this because honestly, not much of this is going to show. You just want to get that general shape, and then make sure that you use a nice long toothpick or skewer so that everything is held in place. Then you also want to make sure that you cover up the bodice portion, and you can kind of design this however you would like. I just did a strip of white. Now I am going to steam it just a bit more because I want to have this little hanging pearl detail on the back. I'm just going to let that solidify up before I add the head portion. So I'm going to be putting on my petals individually. Remember how I talked about use whatever you need to prop up your different pieces of fondant? I'm just using a little bit of paper towel there while I build that flower. And the paper towel is still sitting in there while it dries. Now I'm going to add on the head, which I really just made kind of an oval shape. And then I'm going to add on the hair here piece by piece. When you are making hair, you can do it several different ways. I wanted it to kind of be swept to the side, so you can kind of create whatever hairstyle you want, and I'm kind of making long spaghetti pieces. I decided to do the hair first and then these little arm pieces. And to make the arm pieces, it's just kind of a tapered log that's a little bit thinner at the bottom. Now that I'm done everything else, I'm just going to airbrush my dress. Now my friend really wanted a nice red punchy color. I wanted to do something a bit different than making it solid red, so I'm just going to ombre this up just a little bit. You're welcome to add a face to your girl, but I wanted this to just look really modern and fresh. And really, the back of the dress is the front of the cake. My favorite part of any glamorous cake is the glitter spray. Now let's get into the pricing of this cake. So this cake is going to be fairly costly because it's not only covered fully in fondant, but there is a fondant figure. We've got that fondant dress going on, as well as the flowers and all of the gold detailing as well. If you are looking to get inspired by a whole bunch of amazing dessert tutorials, as well as see a huge catalog full of amazing products, I suggest you go to How to Cake It. I will put that link down in the description box below, and be sure to use my coupon code Sweet Dreams Bake Shop. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading daily, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys.